And so like a few weeks ago, it falls to me to try to understand exactly what's going on. We have the news that Boris announced that the churches would be allowed to open again. That's from the 4th of July, which is a week tomorrow. There's a statement we've had from the Archbishops of England and Wales, which I put up on the website yesterday, which doesn't really say much. And we haven't heard anything from the diocese yet. So I'd hoped that this weekend I'd be able to put things in the newsletter to give you specific times and details of what's going on, but it doesn't look as if that's going to be possible. So what I'll try to do is that for next week, I'll try to get all of the bulletins out by the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday, really as soon as we find out from the diocese what the guidelines are. The reason why that's important is that it took us a week and a half or so just to get the things ready to open the churches. What we're hoping is that with that all in place, then all we have to do is try to manage numbers and try to work out exactly how many people are allowed in church, and therefore how many masses we say and at what times. And I think that's the most important thing that I need to tell you, is that the masses, the times of masses on the weekends will almost inevitably change, because there's only the two of us, and we'll probably have to say more masses if, for example, we're only allowed 30 people in church. So if we're only allowed 30 people in church, then if everyone turns up and wants to go, it's impossible to get people in the mass numbers that we have at the moment. It may be that people, for many good reasons, don't come back to Mass initially, and that's fine. The bishops have continued to lift the obligation to hear Mass on a Sunday, so do not worry if you cannot get to Mass, or if you're afraid of coming to Mass, or if you still feel as if you need to isolate. All of that is fine. There is no obligation. And if you come to Mass during the week, then that will, of course, do, because there's no obligation for the Sunday. So we'll try to work out that as we go along. The blog will be the place to try to find it, but I will try to make sure that the bulletins are out in the middle of next week so that we know what's going on, how it's going to work. At the moment, there's no point trying to guess. If the opening of the church is anything to go by, we had emails almost on the hour, and then we had some after we'd even opened. So we'll have to play it by ear, I'm afraid. One of the things that we have heard a lot in the last weeks and months is that we shall be going to something called the new normal. The new normal, what the world is going to be like after the lockdown, after the virus. The new normal. I don't like that phrase, because I think that what we had before, the normal, or the old normal, I don't think that was normal at all. I think that for the last 30, 40, perhaps even 50 years, we human beings have fooled ourselves that we are masters of the universe, that we have managed to defeat nature, that we have managed to control everything, that we can indeed just simply progress. We can have what we want, we can do what we want. Everything is ours on the plate. And the only things we have to worry about are silly little nitpicking things between us. That we don't have to worry about these great things in life. And that was normal. Normal was that we were in charge of everything. We governed everything. We did everything. But that's not normal. It's never been normal. In the history of the world, it's not normal. We've always known that our lives are precarious. We've always known that the plague, famine, war, they'll come along at regular times and will take away our lives, will destroy, in many cases, the whole of our society. We've had that. We've lived with that. We've never deluded ourselves into thinking that none of that exists. And in fact, for the last 30, 40 years, when those things did happen, we sort of shielded our eyes. We looked in the opposite direction. So when the stock market crashed, it didn't really bother us too much. Honestly, it was a bit difficult, and there was lots of austerity. And yes, that hurt people a lot. But don't worry, we're still going to march forward with no problems. And the tsunami, do you remember the tsunami? Well, the tsunami, when that happened, oh, well, that was okay because it was somewhere else. And we sent lots of aid, and that was fine. And when all of the diseases come along, AIDS came along, when SARS came along, when chicken flu, whatever that was, I've forgotten it. Even I've forgotten it. When that came along, don't worry about it. We get over it because we're very clever. But that's not normal. This is normal. It is normal for us to know the precarious nature of our life, of our families, of our society. Because if we don't know that, then we don't value it. If we don't think that all of this could disappear at any time, then we don't value it. This lockdown, if it's done one thing, has done that. And that is to make us focus on the things which are important. Saint Benedict in the Holy Rule says that a monk should constantly have his eyes fixed to the ground, contemplating his death and judgment. It's not a depressing thing. It is the normal. Because we human beings, at any point, can be taken from this world, and then we will meet our Maker. And if that's true, and it is true, then how have we spent the last day, the last week, the last month? Has it been worthy of our last day, our last week, our last month on earth? Or has it not? Have we chased the things of life which are not important? Have we deluded ourselves into thinking that we are in charge of everything and that we are in charge even of the length of our days and of our eternal salvation? These are things of God, not things of man. The new normal is actually the normal. What we had before, in many ways, was foolishness. Let us then embrace it, because it brings liberty. It brings true liberty, because it makes us focus on the things which are important and are true. Our love for each other, the value of our life, and Almighty God. These are the only important things that there are. The rest of it, if we think we're in charge of them, then what fools we are, what arrogant fools. But if we put all of our trust and our hope and our love in God, then we'll never be disappointed. That, my dear friends, that is normal.